Hello everyone, my name's Brian, and welcome back to another episode of Sweaty Tryhard. And again, I've brought Murktide back. Why have I brought Murktide back so quickly? People asked for it. Fun fact, you can ask me either in the comments to play a deck or email me at HeyDummyPlayThis@gmail.com. That's HeyDummyPlayThis@gmail.com. And if I have it, and there's no reason not to, I'll run it again. But because this was so close to the last time I was playing Murktide, I am going to lock in my list and we are going to play a league. A lot of the times I'll play one-on-one matches because it allows me to tune the decks as we go along in case something goes bad, but this is Izzet Murktide. The list is probably fine. This is the Izzet Murktide list that I personally play in paper, and pretty much it's just more or less stock Izzet Murktide, but just in case you've never run into this deck before, let's run through it super duper quickly. So the whole point of Murktide is to get down your cheap efficient creatures in the beginning. So you have Ragavan, you have Dragon Rage Channeler, and Ledger Shredder to a lesser extent. You want to get those down and you want to defend them with your counter spells, with your spell pierces. You want to essentially draw into important things with things like Consider or Expressive Iteration. And we also have removal to get things out of the way of your creatures, such as 4 Unholy Heats and 4 Lightning Bolts. This version also, of course, has the titular Murktide Regent. It's playing 3 in this particular list. Some play more, some play less. This is just how many I play personally. And also, we have 2 Haha Blood Moons. Now, the Haha Blood Moons, when they work, they really work. And the fact that they're pre-board is really where they get their advantage from. We also have 4 Mishra's Baubles to turn on our Dragon Rage Channelers, as well as our Unholy Heats. The lands are pretty basic. We have 3 Steam Vents, 4 Spire Bluff Canal, 4 Scalding Tarns, 1 Atwara, 2 Misties, 3 Islands, 1 Flooded Strand, and 1 Fiery Islet to redraw. This is a very efficient, very good deck. In fact, this is essentially a theoretically better version of the Legacy version of this deck. Although Legacy does have Force of Will, we still have Expressive Iteration in Modern. My sideboard is essentially, again, a mix of the stock sideboards you'll find online. 2 NGs to take out a whole bunch of things, or perhaps just something that has pro red or blue. 2 Unlicensed Hearse to fight over graveyards. 2 Furies. I know people like Subtlety. I've never liked the Subtlety. I like the Furies. 2 Fluster Storms, as well as a Mystical Dispute, and 2 Force of Negations in case you have to fight over counter spells. And finally, 2 Abrades, which are just good overall cards to have. And there we have it. That's Izzet Murktide. We're going to jump into a league specifically and see how I do. Join me, won't you? All right, we have our first match, and we, of course, lose the die roll. Why would we have it any other way? Although this hand is quite good, we'll go ahead and keep, and we'll out the way. All right. Oh, Fetch Land Pass would be nice. So we have multiple Ragavans, and I'm willing to bet whatever my first creature is going to die, but we did just draw a Mishra's Bauble, which changes what I'm going to do immediately. So we're going to play out Dragon Rage Channeler and a Mishra's Bauble. I have to see what's on top, depending on another land? I'm going to bin that to try and get Delirium moving here. We have 2 lands. That's pretty much all we need. Let's see if we can get some information out of our opponent. Inkmoth Nexus. Okay, so this is either some sort of affinity or some sort of infect. Oh, could be Hammer Time. Probably Hammer Time because of the Hallowed Fountain. All right, what do we draw? A Consider. All right, hopefully they don't just have Sigarda's Aid into an Ornithopter. Stoneforge Mystic. All right, we need to find some removal quick because if they get Cauldron Complete, Colossus Hammer, that's never a good sign. All right, what do we draw? We draw a Scalding Tarn anyway, so I'm super happy we got rid of ours with Steam Vent. So what we could do is just dash a van, force them to trade, because then at least they won't have a creature to kind of go with. I don't think Counterspell is where we want. Actually, Counterspell could be fine. So if we just play out Steam Vent, untapped, and we just play Raga. Actually, wait. This is turn 2. So we just have to keep up Counterspell, I think. Because whatever they're going to use to try and put the Colossus Hammer out, or immediately put it on something, is what we have to counter. So that could be a Sigarda's Aid or a Pierce Deer Paladin. They can attack for 1 if they so choose. Totally fine. We also have something to do if they don't play a spell. We can just Consider and get our Dragon Rage Channeler up and running. Esper Sentinel. Don't think we're worried about Esper Sentinel. We're worried about whatever the enabler is. All right, so we can Consider and we can even pay for Esper Sentinel. That goes to the bin. Right? Yeah, sure. We need removal is what we need. An expressive iteration. If I put expressive iteration in the bin, our Dragon Rage Channeler turns on. So let's just do that. All right, so we still have Counterspell, and we drew a Lightning Bolt, which is great. So we'll go to combat, swing for 3. I think we leave up both Lightning Bolt and Counterspell in this particular situation. Urza Saga is not what you want to say. Teferi, well, we have to counter that. Otherwise, our Counterspell does nothing. So counter Tef. Spire Bluff Canal. No, that can definitely go into the bin. They played a land for turn, so I think it's fine to... Oh, apparently I had to crack before I did that. So they get to draw a card, which is fine. We'll just bolt one of their guys then. So... got the timing slightly wrong on that, but don't worry, folks. Luckily for me, I have a Lightning Bolt. No, we definitely don't need more lands. Thank you, though. All right, if they place a Garderzade now, that's a little unfortunate. Shadow Spear, well, they sure have that now. Another Lightning Bolt. Fascinating. So I think what I do is dash a Van. See if I can bait out a block. If we get the mana, we might just Murktide. Otherwise, we can hold up a Lightning Bolt. Okay, no, they decide to trade, so they're not going to have any creatures, which is nice. So I think at this point, we just hold up Bolt. And then next turn, we can start throwing Murktide Regents around. Because unless they go like multiple Ornithopters, the Lightning Bolt should be enough to kill the Saga token. So many Urza Sagas. Pure Steel Paladin, that's fine. So we'll get rid of Pure Steel, because that can make the Colossus Hammer we know they have actually important. Counterspell, no, I think we still want Counterspell. So if we dash a Van and they trade in one of their Urza Saga's tokens for the dash a Van, then they don't gain any life next turn. They're at 9. But then we also don't do much after that. Or if we hold up the Counterspell, they just make an Urza Saga token, they gain like at least 3 life back. So let's see if we can bait them out with another block with our dash a Van. And if we hit, we get to keep Counterspell up, which is... All right, here we go. All right, so they are going to trade in their attack for the Construct token. We are, however, out of action at the moment. We might have pitched one too many lands into the bin, truth told. Because if they make a Construct token now, or even if they just spend their entire turn making multiple Constructs token, we can just make a massive Murktide region and try and win like that. If they have a Pure Steel Paladin, this goes poorly quickly. Oh, dear. So now they have a 13-13, and we have to start... Oh, 14-14 Trampler. Okay, so good thing we have the Abrades in the side, but... I think the minute the shields went down, they had everything. Oh my god, do they have everything. Just always play like your opponent has a million things, because they always do. Oh man. Check out the action on this. So the only thing that could save us right now is an expressive iteration, which we didn't get, so we go on to game 2. Man, that was brutal. All right, some Fury seem good. Engineer's Explosives seem good. Abrades seem good. I don't think the Dress Downs are where we want to be. I mean, they can kill the Construct tokens, but what seems bad? Because I guess you either have the Dress Downs or the Blood Moons, and he does have, like, dual lands going. Spell Pierces are okay, Counterspells are okay, Baubles are okay. Well, we can trade some Baubles for some Engineered Explosives, so that's a fine trade. We definitely want Abrades, but what don't we want is the question. So, probably nip one Spell Pierce for an Abrade. Maybe we do just give up on the Blood Moons? If we give up on the Blood Moons, we can get the other Abrade in, we can even put a Fury in. And then we like give up on one Consider, put a second Fury in, and hopefully just stay on the offensive. Let's try that. All right, this hand doesn't have any of our good 1-drops, so we'll mull. This hand does. We'll keep. We don't have a lot of land. We'll put the Murktide to the bottom. We have the Engineered Explosives if they get a million hammers out super quickly, but we'll just turn 1 Ragavan. Hopefully we either draw a land turn 2, or they don't have a land or a 1-drop. If they don't have an Esper Sentinel, that'd be fine. Although I'm pretty sure I just summoned Esper Sentinel. Oh, nope. Okie dokie. Misty Rainforest. So we found the land, which is good, which means we'll hold up Counterspell, and we'll swing with Ragavan. Esper Sentinel, which we will absolutely cast. It's some redraw. That sounds amazing. And now we just hold up Counterspell. Their own Esper Sentinel. We will counter this. If they have Sigarda's Aid, because Sigarda's Aid's a 1-drop. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, the Esper Sentinel is not terribly important. So let's see what they do. Nothing. All right. So we'll consider, and we'll pay the extra 1. I want them drawing. Murktide Regent. Nope, that's not what we're looking for right now. Another counter spell. So play Steam Vents, untapped, swing in with just the Esper Sentinel. If they want to trade Esper Sentinels, that's totally fine. Oh, they have no interest in that. Okay. And we'll pass. So now we have a counter spell plus the ability to play a Consider. The Saga sure is a thing. This guy has such discipline. All right, pay the extra 1. Leisure Shredder. I don't think that's where we're at right now. We'll just bin that. We have a Spell Pierce, which is interesting, and a Dragon Rage Channeler. So we have 3 card types in the bin. They're gonna get an Urza Saga token. So we don't play Engineered Explosives this turn. I think we just play Dragon Rage Channeler and pass, and just hold up all the counters. I also think at this point we can trade in the Ragavan for their Esper Sentinel, because they're gonna start to get Urza Saga tokens. Surge of Salvation. So we just lose our... I mean, it gives protection in all but name. We'll just let that happen. They take another one. We pass. We still have our counterspell up, which is nice. I was hoping that the Esper Sentinel would die and we could get down the NG, but we can just get down the NG on our next turn. So Garda's Aid looks like they have counterspell backup. So fortunately, we're going to counter this, and they're going to have their own counterspell. Counterspell? Nope, too late for that. Man, we had no removal this game. Oh, we actually got rid of it. All right, interesting. And we even drew a land, which is nice. So we can play an island. They essentially have a 2-2. So they're going to get a 2-2, which is going to have haste. So I think we let them draw a card, which is unfortunate, but gotta do what we gotta do. We're done with lands now, thank you. And now I think we just pass, because if we cast Murktide, we can't double counter. And I think with 6 cards in their hand, that's where we want to be. Yep, here comes the Merc, or the Construct token. They're just getting a mana, which is interesting. They're probably going to go get Shadow Spear, because it seems like the best thing to get at this point. Pithing Needle for Engineered Explosive. Okay. Ginger Brute. Sure, I don't think we countered Ginger Brute. Knight, sure thing. I believe in this scenario, we just take 5. Another land? Not exactly what we want to see, but we'll get stuff out of our deck. Island. And I think at this point, we give up on our Dragon Rage Channeler, and we just try and make the biggest Murktide we can. So we have a 7/7, which is sure a thing. We'll just pass the turn. Here's still Paladin, can definitely not get in here. No, Dragon Rage Channeler is just a 1/1 at this point, not helping. No, you get to draw a card. Please let us draw a card, opponent. Ah, my god. Like they can see into my hand. At least, hopefully, this will stop them from playing the hammer right now. A Braid stays. Braid very much stays. They get the Pure Steel Paladin. Their hand is definitely just full of hammers. Just unlimited and unknown hammers. We draw a Braid. We'll just crack this to try and just get stuff out of the deck. We can attack for 7, and as long as we can survive 1 turn, we should be fine. We have 1 removal spell, so unless they see into their magic crystal ball and decide that they absolutely have to put the hammer on the Pure Steel Paladin, we should be able to do something about this. Now, we do have a minor problem in that Shadow Spear, yup. We do have a minor problem in that only have 1 Braid, and they apparently have, like, your stuff gets hexproof. I think we even just let them get all the way to the attack. I'm positive they must have counterspells and stuff, but this is the best we have. All right, so you and permanents you control, so it doesn't even matter if we target the Pithing Needle or the Construct token. So I say we try and kill the Construct token. I'd imagine this doesn't work. If I had to take a stab at exactly what's going to happen here. Murktide Regent to the top. If we somehow survive this, we're in pretty good shape, and that Murktide will allow us to get things bigger. There's the Surge of Salvation. So that is quite unfortunate. So that's hexproof now, and now 7, 8, 9, 10. That is very unfortunate. I don't think we have 5 things in the graveyard to make the Murktide that can attack, do that. So we'll throw that there. We'll throw 7, 8. I have to imagine they still have things. This has trample, so there's no point worrying about that is the thing. I guess we can just kill the Pure Steel. If they have a pump spell, they have a pump spell, and we lose the match. So we know what's on top. It's a Murktide, but we only have 1, 2, 3 instants and or sorceries in the bin, so Murktide can't get big enough to save us. So unfortunately, we drop round 1 and we go to round 2. All right, here we are in round 2, and we lose the die roll again. Shame on me for playing a league. I will lose every die roll. And I will also get a completely unkeepable opening hand. Mull. Boy, this isn't much better. But, I mean, we have removal, and we have the Blood Moon, and we have the cards to set up the Blood Moon. So, we'll keep this. I guess we'll even put the Steam Vent back, and we'll just hope our opponent is on a creature strategy. If they're playing controller combo... are you kidding me? Are we playing Hammer Time again? Springleaf Drum, okay, so it's at least affinity. So, we're gonna kill that Ornithopter. All right, Spire Bluff Canal into Holy Heat. The problem is our Blood Moon doesn't really slow down Affinity a ton, if we're being completely honest, in its effectiveness. Although, it will be nice to stop Urza Saga. Unfortunately, we're going to be behind in stopping Urza Saga. Island, that's actually great. So we just pass, I think. Leave Expressive Iteration until it's finding a land is helpful. Comes another Ornithopter, which will not make it out of this turn, but he will be able to use it to make a token is the thing. All right, we'll just be efficient with our mana here. There goes that. And let's go get a basic island. Sitter. Murktide Regent. That would even be fine. And keep that in our hand. We draw a Bauble. Okay, well, see what our opponent's up to. Good thing is the Murktide will come out next turn. It won't be super big, but it'll be okay. A Plains. How come the top of their deck is a basic? That seems rude. Well, we'll blow up one of their lands. We'll do everything in our power to try and slow them down as much as possible, really. They did get to draw just a straight up hit, though, which I'm not going to lie is kind of brutal. Shadow Spear. Are we just going to play against Urza Saga and Shadow Spear every game now? Is that just where I'm at today? We get Noggin for 3, which is actually fine by me, because that means I can Ragavan into Murktide. Unholy Heat. Well, unfortunately, we can't guarantee the Delirium, so we'll just Dashavan into Murktide. Unless, of course, we, like, draw something off the top of their deck that's, like, amazing. Mostly, I'm hoping for a Bauble off the top of their deck. Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. Well, I'm glad that didn't get drawn. We do, however, still get to Murktide. But it's Murk time. I mean, a 6/6 Murktide is nothing to cough at. Ragavan bounces back to our hand, and we have Defense. Yeah, that's fine. What's their other play that the this is mono white hammer time. I thought it was Affinity. We went hammer time. Great. All right, we don't have enough land for that, which means we will try to expressive into something. Okay, so 1 to hand will be what exactly? I suppose Darcy to hand, consider to bottom, Steam Vent. Just play out the Steam Vent, and we're just going to play out Ragavan as is, because he only has 1 card in hand. So as long as his last card isn't pure Steel Paladin, we should be okay. I'll leave up the Murktide just in case, but I'm hoping that our opponent like just draws an Urza Saga or something. Next turn we do have enough burn hopefully to do stuff, but all right, please. Okay, he's going straight to combat. If he doesn't attack, that's great for us. All right, so now we even have enough red mana to do everything. So Dragon Rage Channeler into a Bolt. See what they do. Spell Pierce is not where we want to be right now. Surge of Salvation in the main. My word, people do not like Ragavan, do they? Ugh. So that's in the main. Nothing we can do about that. And what's worse is now there's no reason to attack with Murktide. Surge of Salvation. Oh my word. Right, if they don't have another Giver of Runes, that's not a good sign. At least we do have Unholy Heat to kill that. All right, so goodbye Giver of Runes. Spire, absolutely not. Spire Bluff Canal in the bin. Come on, something useful. Deck, come on. You know better than that. No, we just pass. Unfortunately, I think Hammer Time beats us in this draw go kind of simulator here. I mean, we can really just hope they draw dead, because the moment they start drawing more artifacts than our size of our Murktide, that's a problem. And we have 3 card types, not 4, so we don't even have the ability to draw another land. Is that this whole video? Watch Brian draw lands and die? Oh my word, we are just having the worst luck. Please don't play an artifact. Oh no, Stoneforge Mystic. So now they can just get another Colossus Hammer and grow the Construct token. If they get greedy and play a Cauldron Complete, Paradise Mantle, it's even a 0 drop, so they are going right out of the bat. Getting frisky with the 6/6. I mean, it's the best trade we're going to get offered. Our Dragon Rage Channeler did turn on, so there's minor victories here. Chart. Stoneforge Mystic is now wearing a Paradise Mantle. Please don't draw land. Dragon Rage Channeler. Well, it's not a land. So what we'll do, boy, do I wish Fury was in the main right now. We'll just attack with both. They can trade Ragavan for the Dragon Rage Channeler. Yeah, just try and keep them free of creatures. I mean, we have a Dragon Rage Channeler, but like this isn't even Blood Moon's fault. This is just not lucky. I mean, their they're also drawing dead, and we have 2 Dragon Rage Channelers, so maybe? Oh no, more lands. Oh man, the flood is real, guys. It's brutal. No, we'll just keep those in our hand, because we can cast every spell. We can hard cast Murktides if we so chose. Oh no! Oh man, Editing Brian at this point has got to be counting how many lands that is off the top, because that's so brutal. I mean, the only thing that could possibly be saving us right now is if our opponent assumes I'm just holding on to counter spells. We got a 2-turn clock going, but if we just continue to draw dead Zolites, there's no way our opponent drew dead again. Yeah, they're also drawing. Oh no, Solitude. Okay, so now we're back on like a 4 million turn clock. If they have an Ephemerate, I swear. Okay, no, at least it's just dying. Oh boy, please don't be a land. Unholy Heat. Okay, that at least can take care of stuff. So unfortunately, he gets multiple more turns is the thing. Yeah, one of our lands, why not? I think our opponent stopped drawing dead is the problem. They stopped drawing dead 1 turn before we did. Yeah, that's fine. I see no reason to bother with the Ginger Brute. Okay, I see one reason to bother with the Ginger Brute. At least we get to surveil. Oh, Lightning Bolt. Keep that. They are going to sack Ginger Brute, and they have 2 mana. They don't have 2 mana, though. Oh, sorry, buddy. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So we finally get game 1 after the longest fought game possible. Boy, that was turn 13. Jeez and knackers. No, I don't want more land. Please, no. Oh man, we finally win game 1. That's so brutal. Fury, absolutely get in here. Engineered Explosives, absolutely get in here. Braids, my word, get in here. I feel like the Blood Moon did us a solid, so we'll keep that in there. We'll get rid of 2 baubles. Get rid of a Murktide region for one of the Furies, and we'll get rid of 2 Spell Pierces, I think. And that only leads us one more thing we have to get rid of. Maybe just a Consider. Or maybe a Counterspell, because we're on the... Let's get rid of a Consider. I think everything in this pile is better Consider, and we'll try that. Huh. 1 land, a bunch of removal. We'll try it. We have a Dragon Rage Channeler and an Engineered Explosives. Esper Sentinel. Well, that's unfortunate. Another Dragon Rage Channeler. So what we'll do... I want to bolt the Sentinel is the... I care about the Sentinel. So if we just open with Dragon Rage Channeler and just pass, we can see what their turn 2 is. Springleaf Drum is fine. Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, well, removal for everybody next turn. Hopefully we find a land. Go get Shadow Spear, which isn't our friend. We did find a land. It's not a red land, though, so that's on me. The good news is we can play out Engineered Explosives on 0. Or do we just play it out on 1? Then we can't do anything. Oh, no. Okay, so I think what we do here is we Unholy Heat the Stoneforge Mystic. We do pay the 1 here. Ragavan is not a land, so we'll put that in the bin. 2 card types. We'll even play this out on 0, because it's not like we have the Blood Moon right now to stop their sagas. And we don't need another one, though. The 3 card types in the bin now. The unfortunate thing is, next turn, if they do just go Sigarda's Aid Hammer, then oh well. But we just have to hope they don't have it sometimes. There's the Shadow Spear we knew about. If all they're doing is equipping Shadow Spear, that's fine. Okay, so they get to gain 2 life, and they get to draw a card because I'm going to kill that. Another Ragavan. So funny thing about that, that means we get to Ragavan, we get to hit them, and then we get to kill Esper Sentinel. Plains, okay, well, kind of wish they would have actually drawn that, truth be told, but at least we get to Unholy Heat them. They do get a redraw, which is, you know, it is what it is. Fiery Izzet. No, I think we put this in the bin and we turn our Darcy on. So Ragavan comes back to our hand. Our Dragon Rage Channeler is active. They do have 5 cards, though. No creatures, which is good, and we have removal. Ooh, taking. Pure Steel. Okay. They need to get 1 more artifact down. Well, then, that sure is unfortunate. So now they just get to equip everything and probably take this game unless we literally find a Braid. If we find a Braid, then we're still okay. Stoneforge Mystic. That's not good. Also, you guys are kind of seeing in real time another downside to playing Leagues. And the downside to playing Leagues is that if you just play the same deck over and over again, you don't get to intersperse other matches. All right, so I'm pretty sure we're well and donezoed here, is the thing. So we'll attack for 3, and then they'll gain 1 million. We have no way of drawing any other cards, so we'll just save Brian some editing time and figure out what we want to do for game 3. I don't think there's much we want to change other than drawing better. I mean, there's a world where that Engineered Explosive should have been on 1, but we never had enough land to do it all at the same time anyway, so that could be misplaying, but let's just shrug and hope we do better. All right, we're on the play. I mean, we have a turn 1 Ragavan, we have removal, we have redraw, we have counterspells. I don't think you can ask for better outside of like our specific sideboard cards. All right, here's my turn 1 Ragavan. We have a turn 1 Esper Sentinel. That's sad. If it's Giver of Runes, I just get to Unholy Heat it out of the way. You have turn 1 Sigardizate. Oh boy, am I getting high-roaded today. We just pass. That even blanks a Fury. That's so bad. Oh man, that's so brutal. That was the worst 1-drop they possibly could have played. And they have Urza's Saga. What's it like? Now, at least we get to counter that. No, they're better than to attack that. If we draw Blood Moon, that would probably be our best draw right now. We draw a Scalding Tarn. So I think what we do here is we try and expressive our way out of this. All right, 1 to hand, probably the counter spell, even though it doesn't help. Consider to bottom and toss the Misty, play the Misty. I mean, might as well just play Dragon Rage Channeler, right? And if they just vomit their hand next turn, we just lose to Hammer Time twice. And then if you're in the YouTube studio, you get to see what they call a dip. And that's where, normally at this point in the video, like 34% of the people are still watching, and then it goes to like 12. Boy, do people not like to watch the unknown dude just get rocked. Skyclave, this is just a land you pitch to Solitude. Okay, so they're gonna create a guy next turn. Draw another Ragavan because there is no justice in this world. Yeah, no, we just play Scalding Tarn and pass. We have been drawing so poorly, like impressively poorly these past couple of games. Right, we'll just kill this thing real quick. There's no way they, keep Lightning Bolt. There's no way they, save their Construct token. What do they get now? Ringleaf Drum, yeah, that's a thing. All right, so we draw the Lightning Bolt, and we thin the deck a tier. What way we're doing it? Stupid, big, red, wall, blocky thing. What do we got on top? Blooded Strand does us no favors. Into the bin with you. Boy, would it be nice if my Dragon Rage Channel was flying and chipping in for 3 right now. But, you know. I'd like to remind you, we didn't actually end up taking artifacts out of the deck. We did a 1-for-1. Stoneforge Mystic. No, thank you. Counterspell. Darcy turns on our Darcy, so we'll do that. Now we just need to draw anything that's not red. Like Murktide. Murktide's not red. Leisure Shredder's not red. Spire Bluff Canal can haunt my dreams. All right, so we start chipping in. They're clearly some flavor of Mana Screwed, but Mana Screw beats Mana Flood every time because they have a handful of action. We have a Ragavan and an island, and they just drew a land, which is really bad for us. This is going great, guys. Are you guys having fun out there? You having fun in YouTube land? Here's Steel Paladin. Go off. Have the hammer. Here comes Ornithopter. Come on down. Oh my god. And they just get to hit us for 20? That's so brutal. We got flooded twice. We got destroyed this game. All right, on to the next one, folks. 0-2, that's brutal. Jeez. All right, we continue to lose die rolls. That's 3 in a row now. Why do I play this game? Why do I do this to myself? We start opening hands good. I mean, it's a million lands, but that means we're less likely to draw them, right? We also have a Dragon Rage Channel where we can pitch lands into the bin. We will now sit here and draw 6 lands in a row. I swear if you're playing Hammer Time. Okay, that at least shows me it's probably not Hammer Time. Expressive Iteration. Wonderful. All right, so we'll just start pulling stuff out of the deck. I have the strangest feeling my Dragon Rage Channeler is going to get rend off the face of the planet, but we at least have a Lightning Bolt to take care of it after that then. Expressive bin, so now we have 3 types. Take a peek at what they have going on. Fairy Time Raveler. Okay, so this might just be an elemental deck then. We draw a Ragavan, so if they just hold everything up, we can try and dash a van. Oh, okay, so it looks like we are going to get a dash in. Whether or not they have a bolt in hand, though, is unknown. Consider, I would like to consider many things. Mostly the life decisions that have brought me here today. All right, dash a van. Go, aggro, Inferno. So get a treasure, we steal a Scalding Tarn, which isn't terribly helpful. We just kind of hold stuff up at this point. They're going to play Tef. We can either consider a Lightning Bolt depending on what we're feeling at that point. Probably consider, if we're being completely honest. Yep. Oh no, okay, fascinating. I guess we still consider anyway. Murktide Regent. We'll keep that in case they kill our smaller creatures. Okay, so it's turn 3. I think what we do is play Scalding Tarn, pass Dash of Hand. Oh no, they didn't counter it. Just swing for 5 again. Leyline's Binding, yeah, nothing we can do about that. So they took the Dash of Hand. We do get to hit them for 3 though. I'm glad we didn't bank on the Dash of Hand. Now though, the Murktide's interesting, but we'll see what we want to do next turn. Right? Pretty sure they just have a deck full of removal at this point. counterspell. That'll help us fight this a little. So we'll play an island, we'll go to combat, swing in with Dragon Rage Channeler. Another Leyline's Binding. Well, we'll try and fight over this a bit. If they do end up getting us, though, we do have Murktide Region as the next thing to do. Another counterspell. I feel like we might even need that, depending on how things go. Spell Pierce. Well, we'll pay the 2. We're bleeding cards out of their hand at this point. All right, we got them. If they do play that to Fairy, though, that becomes unfortunate, because then I suppose our counterspell doesn't work anymore, so that might have been silly of me. Dwarven Mine, sure. Just chips in for 1. Sure thing. Sure thing, boss. It's just, Indomitable for Big Bad. Indomitable for Big Bad. Sacrifice a creature, discard a card, which will be, I guess, the Steam Vent. Because every time this attacks, I have to sacrifice a creature? Okay. So, sacrifice the... What's the Lightning Bolt's doing us the least amount of favors right now? We need a Unholy Heat, is what we need. Thing I knew about that counterspell. So, Expressive Iteration. Okay, so we found the Unholy Heat. So, we'll put... Let's see, we have 9 cards in graveyard. We'll put Murktide to our hand. We'll put Expressive to the bottom. We'll exile the Unholy Heat. We'll play the Steam Vent in case they have, something. Don't even know what anymore. And we'll kill the Archon. We could Murktide at this point, but I think we wait a turn and we keep up the counterspell, because if they just do that again, then that's unfortunate. Otherwise, next turn we Murktide, take as few cards as possible, then Murktide, take as many cards as possible. Haven't played a land. I feel like we just try and stub this. I don't want them drawing any extra. If they play a land and they do it again, okay, they didn't. So we have a chance. Blood Moon. Doesn't do as much as you'd think. So blue, actually, wait, do it the other way. Blue, Murktide. Eat all of the instances first. Okay, now I say we Blood Moon. And now the only thing they can do is the combo. And next turn we swing in for a lot, because it'll be 8, 9, 10. If they have the combo, though, that's very unfortunate. I am so sad right now. So, remember when I said your opponent always has it? Well, your opponent's always going to have it. And we discard the Murktide? Oh, man. So, literally, we need to find, like, what's left of our Expressive Iterations, or just an Unholy Heat off the top, or we lose. Magic is a fun game for people who like to have fun. What the heck, man? So, Force of Negations, Fluster Storms, what else? Probably about it. What can we take out? Blood Moons do Bupkiss, because their thing is red, and apparently they just naturally have it at all times. So that's fun. Maybe even 1 bolt. One more thing. I'm going to take out a Murktide region and try it like that. Let's see how we do. All right, as always, we get to play game 2, because boy, can we not win a game 1. This is fine. Come on, Ragavan. Plenty of counters to fight with them later. We did see a Teferi game 1, though, so wouldn't be surprised if we start running into those. All right, Steam Vent time and Ragavan time. Now they magically have the Lightning Bolt to kill Ragavan. Steam Vent, hey, remember that Lightning Bolt I was talking about? Oh, hey, they don't have it. How nice. Leisure Shredder, that might be interesting. Attack with Ragavan. Arid Mesa. I'm just going to hold everything up at this point. Pretty much any spell they cast is not happening, and if they cast no spells, I'm fine with it. Sure. Darcy, well, we'll just swing again with Ragavan. Start making as much treasure as we can. Steel Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I'm not going to play that. I instead am going to play out Leisure Shredder. If they want to counter Leisure Shredder, they're welcome to. I'll fight over this. Let's counter. Make sure I get my Leisure Shredder out. Even if they just Tef next turn, I have a Force of Negation. And we can just give up on Murktide, because we have 2 creatures out at this point. Renin 6. No. Good. I want to keep our way clear here, if you get what I mean. Please cast a second spell. No? No second spell? Okay. Another counterspell, though, is back with both our things. At this point, though, we probably have to let one of our things die if they try and kill it. Another Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So I am going to go ahead and just let that lay. We only can cast 1 counterspell, so we'll just cast Dragon Rage Channeler. Crack stuff. It's their turn. They can't do it all with 1 spell, though, because we do have counterspells. So I reckon this is just them setting up to... oh, sure, another one. This is just them setting up to go get the Dwarven Mine. At this point, again, we're just trying to go as fast as we can. So I'm fine trading in Ragavan for their Dwarven Mine token. Yep. If you don't have a token, then you can't do the big thing. And we can counterspell twice, so whatever you're gonna do, it's not gonna be that exciting. Cycling Jetmir's Garden, that's fine by me. They're down to 6, so the moment they start helping us pump our Leisure Shredder or our Dragon Rage Channeler turns on, we're actually pretty good. Ragavan got quite a few hits in. It also took out their token, which is nice. They can just try and do it now, though, so we'll see what they're up to. Lightning Bolt. Well, you know what that means, folks. Attack. They try and put the dwarf out. We just get to bolt it, and then hopefully we get to turn on Dragon Rage Channeler. You can make your 1/1. Now, before blocks, bolt. This goes in the bin. even turning on our Dragon Rage Channeler. No, we'll then see if we can get some pump action out of this. We get to connive, get rid of expressive iteration, and we win the game going to game 3. All right, that seemed amazing. I don't think there's much else I want to change here, so let's just try that again. So we're again on the draw, which is unfortunate. We have a million good things in hand, though. They're all 1-drops. Hopefully we find a second land. We find a second Dragon Rage Channeler. I'm just going to start with Ragavan, because he might help us ramp. If he gets bolted immediately, I have a second Ragavan, but hopefully we can find some mana. Oh, is he just dead immediately? Looks like, oh no, I got the Triome. Ooh, Renin 6? Renin 6 would be brutal. Yep, Renin 6. Don't have it this time. So there goes Ragavan. The problem is now, if we don't find a land, we're so behind. But that's draw go, truth be told. You know, if we sit here and we win 0, we are so screwed. I'm even going to risk it at this point. Holy Heat, no thank you. Counter... Okay, so we just lost this match. We straight up lost this match. No lands in the top few cards. I love showing you guys that Magic is a skilled game and the better player always wins, in that I will sit here and flood out, and then the very next game, I will never see a land again. Okay, well, get rid of Renin 6 at least. This guy's just going to be able to go all the way to the zoo. Come on, have a counter. Put me out of my misery. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. You know, there's arguments that you shouldn't keep a one-lander. I get it. I think this deck is low enough to the ground where it could have worked. We have seen a whole bunch of cards. We were on the draw. You know, the fish was this big. The sun was in my eyes. Other reasons you guys should stick around at the Dark Door YouTube channel. So you can sit here and watch me get absolutely rocked. Oh, man. Please just do the combo. Please do the combo so I can just leave. Dwarf token. Just do the combo. Here, I'll even hover over the concede thing the minute you have the combo. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Well, we're dead. We'll see what we draw. I'm definitely conceding. There's no coming back from this. 0% chance. He just has too developed of a board, but we'll see what we can do here. Lightning Bolt. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Going to game 4. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. All right, so we're multiple games down. Now that we're in the doesn't matter category anymore, we finally win a die roll. No. Sure, this is creature heavy. Keep. We'll get rid of one of the steam vents. Turn 1 Darcy's pretty good, I think. Let's see if it's good enough to beat anyone else in the 03 category on a Mid-Go League. Starting off with a bauble. Could be a mirror, could be Hammer Time, could be Affinity. Looking at his own, it could be Shadow. Shadow would at least be different. The opponent checks the top of their deck. That probably means they have a fetch land, and they wanted to see if they wanted to fetch or if they wanted to leave what was on top. Verdant Catacombs. Okay, so this is probably Shadow. Breeding Pool. That's different. This Infect. Just passes. Fascinating. If we draw a Dragon Rage Channeler, we're going to cast a Leisure Shredder. And we'll swing in for 1. Probably did that backwards. Probably should have swung in and then cast Leisure Shredder. But essentially, next turn, we want to cast Dragon Rage Channeler and then consider and then see how close we can get to Delirium and hopefully pump our Leisure Shredder as well, while our opponent is setting up whatever Shadow they're doing on that end. A Breeding Pool's kind of weird, though. They didn't do anything, and I still think it's Shadow because A, Bobble, and B, like, they happily took 3 for no reason because we're now on turn 2. I did hear that there was a weird Sultai-ish Shadow deck going around. At time of recording, it's the 16th of May, 2023. So just recently, a Shadow deck did very, very well that was like Sultai colors. Tarmogoyf. Okay, I believe I know exactly what this is. This is this weird Shadow list that like just won a challenge. This is a Lightning Bolt. Nope. Okay. So I think we do plan A, which is Dragon Rage Channeler. We're going to grow the Goyf a bit here, but I mean, hopefully we grow it to our advantage. Unholy Heat. Yeah, I think actually we do want to put that in the yard. Not going to take out Tarmogoyf anytime soon. Another Dragon Rage Channeler, another type in the bin. We're really going to help our opponent's Goyf out. At this point, we want to give up on something and pump this guy. I think we can get rid of the Leisure Shredder. We get one more, another Unholy Heat. Well, we'll keep it now, play our land, and swing in the air for 2. Now, their Goyf just got really big, which is probably what the Sultai deck is really kind of banking on, is the fact that so many people are pitching so much into their bin that Tarmogoyf's even doing okay again. If we can find Delirium, we can kind of be okay. If we don't turn on Delirium, we're probably going too slow. You know, we'll see what happens here, though. Because they're allowed to get in for 4 at this point. We just need to find a sorcery and a fetch land, which is not too hard to ask this deck for. Continuing to beat themselves up, so if we can get flying going, that'd be great. Is this a shadow? Yeah, okay, here's the shadow. So we'll take 4, because we're really hoping next turn we get to turn on Delirium. I have to assume they're also keeping up a counter spell. Lightning Bolt. Well, we have to try and turn on Delirium here. Oh, oops, wrong mana. That one. Expressive Iteration to the bin. Find a land on top, that'd be great. Ragavan. I think we're past Ragavan, if I'm missed. Cycling Street Wraith. Sure. You just let this happen. And now we kind of go for broke. So we get 3 bites at the apple here. We just need to find a land. There we did. Now we even get to choose what our next card's going to be. We haven't played a land, so that's... No, but we don't get to keep the land in the counterspell, so we'll bin that as well. I think I'd rather have Murktide. All right, so that'll get rid of the Death Shadow. Oh, is the counterspell now? Dress Down. Fascinating. That saves them 1 attack, but the funny thing about that is that Death Shadow's still going to die. Because what'll happen is we'll get to end step, it'll turn back to a 5/5, and then it'll just die. Yeah. And now, if we really wanted to, we could even kill the Tarmogoyf. And we'll have a Murktide region. Well, there's no red, so there's no Teamer Battle Rage. So I'm just going to let that thing hit me. You know, I have to assume there's some amount of removal in his hand, and I don't want to do our opponent's job for him. Because winning with 1 life is the same as winning with 1,000,000, though. Their follow-ups are going to be interesting, though. And we could easily make a 7/7 Murktide Regent. We could even make it an 8/8 if we wanted to turn off the Dragon Rage Channelers. But we'll see what we draw here. Like a Consider would be awesome. You know, I'm also saying a lot of this because I have a lot of time, and I think our opponent must have something in hand. There's no way they have 6 cards in hand, 3 open land in a deck where the average CMC is like 1.5, that they're not going to do something. Traverse the Ovenwald, so they get to tutor for anything, I think. For a land or creature. Okay, so you just get another shadow? Or something with flying. What do they get with flying? Vampire Hexmage. Oh, they're going to remove counters from Leisure Shredder. Get to connive again. Let's get rid of spell. Surprised Vampire Hexmage is in this list. But that does mean they get to survive another turn. Fascinating. So we deal 6 in the air. They have to block with Vampire Hexmage. And then, so Dashavan doesn't really make sense to do. So pretty much we have to attack. They lower Leisure Shredder back. They go to 1. And that's the best we can do right now. In fact, because of Vampire Hexmage, do we even attack with the Leisure Shredder? Because they could have something that could kill our creatures and get us with the Tarmogoyf. So if I actually, no, I need to do this so that they definitely do it because the Murktide Regent, we want to be big. So they sacrifice the Vampire Hexmage. Yeah, they go down to 1. And then we Murktide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here he comes. Here comes Speed Racer. Here's an 8/8, and we'll play out Ragavan as Chumpy McBlocker. We even get a connive out of the deal. Yep, there, Ragavan. So our opponent's at 1, and we have 2 blockers. So even if they have multiple removal spells now, like worst they can do is take us to like 2. Okay, cool. We get 1. All right. So unlicensed hearses, and I think Furies probably where we want to be at. Got some of their creatures. Blood Moon seems fine. Bauble seems fine. We can take out 2 baubles though because we have 2 other artifacts now. Spellpierce seems fine. What seems bad? Not a lot seems bad, hey. See those Blood Moons though, like they're fetching so greedily. I feel like we can really surprise them, Blood Moon. So if we take out 1 Consider and we even take, it's either 1 Blood Moon or 1 Murktide. I'm gonna take out 1 Blood Moon. We'll see how it goes. Try that. Who knows? Ragavan, Channeler, Iteration. I'm gonna keep because they're not playing red, so they probably shouldn't have a terrible amount of early game interaction. And like this is our early game, like run you down and beat you up. So hopefully we can just be fast. Also, this is a pretty fine hand if they open up with Hand Disruption because we have multiple threats here. So here comes Inquisition. Oh, Thoughtseize. Okay. So they are going for the full 15. Probably take Expressive Iteration at this point, I have to assume. Because like there's so many creatures, like there's an argument to take the Dragon Rage Channeler, but Expressive Iteration lets us kind of recover. Okay, I'll take it. He must have a decent amount of removal. Lightning Bolt. Okay, well, Misty into Steam Vent, cool, into Ragavan, and we ship the turn. I mean, here's the thing. Our opponent is also in the 0-3 bracket right now. That's how he's playing against us. So it's not unlikely that they just don't know how to use this Sultai Shadow list. Are they going to take the full till? They are. They're at 12, so they can play a Baby Shadow if they want. Or they could just Fatal Push, sure. And then they played the Baby Shadow. Okay. So I am going to hope they don't have multiple street. They don't. Okay, good. The good news here is our opponent knows about the second monkey, but they don't know about the third monkey. And they must have played out that shadow to get removed, because otherwise, why would you play it out? I guess you knew I had the monkey. Down to 10, there must be another shadow. Gris, sure. It makes a little baby insect token, which is thing. We need to find removal is what we need right now. Unholy Heat, that'll do. So, we Expressive Iteration, we put the Murktide to hand, we put the Counterspell to bottom, and we exile the Consider. We just get a Steam Vent, sir, and we just blow up the Gris. I'm just gonna leave the Ragavan out for now, and next turn we get to Murktide. Inquisition, okay, so we lose a monkey. They're next. What's their last card? Seems like their last card is nothing. So, oh, they're attacking. That can't be good. Their last card must be some kind of removal then. Or it's a big creature. So they might just be playing, oh, that's fascinating. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to consider first. Let us consider our options. Stubborn Denial, sure. No, you're good, man. So, door is open. First things first, let's attack with Ragavan. I don't see why he attacked with the insect token. Fetchin, sure. Dryad Arbor. Snap, man. The old sneaky Dryad Arbor. All right, I can dig it. I can also dig a redonkulously thick Murktide Regent. So here's my big boy. Hopefully they didn't draw something that can kill a Murktide. Now, this is going to take a second to kill him. Invasion of Zendikar, sure. Or Invasion of Ikoria. What does that actually do? Battlefield, search your graveyard, X or less. Oh, that puts a shadow back at his hand? Puts it into the field? Oof, okay. That's brutal. Because now we can't attack because we'll die on the crackback. So the good news is we have a counterspell. So whatever this person casts next turn is just not resolving. But boy, Invasion of Ikoria is brutal. Nile Spellbomb. No, we good. I don't want you drawing cards. I realize Nile Spellbomb doesn't seem like a super big threat, but yeah. Blood Moon. That's really funny. All right, opponent. How many red cards do you have in your deck? So we now make faces at each other. There is a world where he finds enough Street Wraiths to make the shadow bigger than my Murktide, but I'm hoping that we draw into red cards before our opponent draws into Street Wraiths. Like, that's the game right now. Counterspell, nothing I can do about that. And we ship. One of Blood Moon. Looks like it might have come in clutch. We're going to find out together. Dragon Rage Channeler, exactly what we're looking for. Can we even attack? Like, what's the worst they can do? No, they could still kill us if they have Fatal Push in their hand and they find a basic swamp. So we'll just hang back for a second. Atwara, the Soaring City. We'll chill for half a second. No reason to put that out. If we could find a island, though, we can bounce the shadow to their hand and just take the game. Please don't find a basic. All right. We continue to lock them out of the game. Expressive Iteration. Well, we did also lock ourselves out of the game, but I feel like we should be able to win before our opponent does. And if we draw to where we start discarding, we just get to put Expressive Iteration in the bin, which is nice. Counterspell. Keep yielding. See no reason to get blown out by basic Fatal Push right now. Fury! That'll do it. And we win a match. We finally win one. So we're 1-3. We might get half our play points back if we can win the last one, but for those of you who stuck around this long to see me finally win a game with a really good deck, congratulations, you did it. Leave a comment below about how you're still here. Catch you guys in the final round. Guys, I got bad news. We were having too much fun, and you know, they decided we won one die roll, we won one game, and that's the end of it. We're back to losing die rolls. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, let's see what we're up against here. This is actually a pretty good hand. Got tons of removal. It's got a Ragavan, so we'll keep. We'll see what our opponent is up to on their turn. Is it the mirror? Already our turn. They just played a land and shipped it. There's that. Here comes Ragavan. Now, the problem is if they just remove Ragavan now and then dash their own Ragavan, we get dumpstered. We get dumpstered. This is a mirror match, and we just lost. Straight up. That's unfortunate, because what they're going to do now is Dashavan, and they're just going to get so much momentum that they win the match. So here's Dash. Ooh, Dragon Rage Channeler. Okay. I can dig Dragon Rage Channeler because I can kill Dragon Rage Channeler. Consider. All right. We will take 2. We'll see if we get to kill the Darcy. We do, which means we'll just keep Consider up as well as our 2 bits of remove. Spire, Bluff Canal. Looks like they're just going to keep Counterspell up. So we'll give a peek. Murktide's not doing us any favors at this point. We find another Unholy Heat, so at least we get to keep stopping them from doing anything too. A Darcy, you know what? We'll even run into the counterspell. Sure. Come on, counter me, opponent. Come on, you did nothing last turn. You have the counter. Maybe you think I have the spell pierce. Maybe I do have the spell pierce. You don't know. All right, so now we have multiple removal spells and we have the Darcy. Sure. Just cycling a dress down, it seems like. Seems like they're in a much more desperation kind of league than I am already. Aggressive iteration, nothing we can do about that. Steam Vents, so they're going to play a land. Gonna play a Leisure Shredder? Unholy Heating our dude. It has Delirium, so there's no saving that now. Our turn, please draw land deck. Please, 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 land, and no! Alright, now that we drew the Spell Pierce after it was too late to save our creature, we are just making faces at each other. It's gonna pass. Yep. There's our land finally. Fortunately, I think I just pass. I'm gonna draw a card because they have a lot more lands than we do. We don't have Delirium though, which is problematic. What do we draw? Twara. We're gonna play a Twara, and we're even gonna try and Murktide. I realize this gets blown out like 6 different ways, but let's try and progress the game. Counterspell, believe it or not, is not one of the ways we get blown out. If they have a second counterspell, though, we got stomped. Second counterspell, second counterspell. Okay, so we have a bunch of removal, though. We still only have 2 card types. We started with 2 card types. We ended with 2 card types. What have we lost? Nothing. Our opponent does have a really good opening, though, just to lay out quite a large Murktide right now. That Leisure Shredder, that's fine. We can still kill that. Dragon Rage Channeler, yep. Okay, so next turn, we're going to see what we can do here. Misty Rainforest does us no favors. But I think we can clear the board. So first things first, we will bolt the Dragon Rage Channeler. Oh, well then. I didn't actually expect that to work so well. They must have nothing, but if we Unholy Heat, I guess we do, because I guess we don't want them to keep doing it. So Unholy Heat number 1, they get to connive. Even if they connive, though, this is a non-problem. Yep, and connive a second. Oh no, or just blow it up. Okay, so field's open. We have a Spell Pierce in case they do anything particularly greedy. We also have a redraw with Fiery Izzet. Aggressive iteration. I want this to take your whole turn. Okay, so it is going to take their whole turn, which is fine by me. At least we won't get Dash Evand. Scalding Tarn, okay. We might get Dash Evand. Dash Evand would be pretty brutal right now. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it, opponent. Here. Oh, Murktide. Big Murktide. Murktide, I don't know how we do anything, actually. Unless we draw our own Murktide, and then they bounce off each other. So 8/8 Murktide. That is a biggin. We draw probably a land. Yep. I hate you, deck. I hate you with every fiber of my being. You know, clearly, I took you out too early. You were still sleeping. Oh my god. Okay. There goes game 1. So, lost the die roll, lost the game. You know, this is how these things work. And unfortunately, in mirror matches, it is more so than other ones. You know, lose the die roll, lose the match. So, what do we draw? Before that connives, do I get to do something, game? Yep, I do. Right. Goodbye. I mean, again, there's no world where we stop Murktide, but let's keep trying. Like, if we find our own Murktide, there's still 2 more in the deck, I think. There's 1 more in the deck. There's 1 Murktide. If we find the 1 Murktide that's still in the deck, we can kind of reset a little bit. That's like literally it, because a Twar is already on the field. Scalding Tarn. This is the deck telling me it's done. It doesn't want to play anymore. It wants to go back in the box and not be seen again for weeks and weeks and weeks. Again, shame on me for taking it out too early. Fury seems great. Hearst seems great. Blood Moon doesn't do anything. What else doesn't do anything? I mean, the Spell Pierces are good when they're good, and they're awful when they're awful, so I only draw them when they're awful. I guess it's 2 baubles like we normally do. And yeah, we bring in some anti-pieces, and we try that. Let's go. All right, we get to be on the play. This hand does Bupkiss, so try again. This hand does stuff. Okay, cool. So put the island back. Now, we're going to turn 1 Ragavan, and if our opponent's smart, they kept a hand that can specifically deal with a turn 1 Ragavan. That's probably in these mirror matches what you want to deal with the most is the turn 1 Ragavan. Because if you can't deal with the turn 1 Ragavan, then I'm going to snowball you. So we should see a Lightning Bolt or an Unholy Heat. There it is. Because you really have to play your whole deck around, okay, my opponent gets to go first, which means they get to essentially have advantage. Another Unlicensed Hearse. Well, that's 1 too many of those. Luckily, we do have the card that's going to let us connive 1 away. Here's our Leisure Shredder, and next turn, we can hopefully get some conniving going. Please don't have a Lightning Bolt. Have their own Leisure Shredder, which kind of changes plans a little bit. Oh, even. Okay, so good news is we both get to connive. Okay, so goodbye 1 Unlicensed Hearse. And next turn, we play our Unlicensed Hearse, and we start taking out their graveyard. We kind of go on the Unlicensed Hearse plan. We found an island. I'm even not going to cast Ragavan, bin. I'm just going to cast Unlicensed Hearse, eat their bin. Yeah, and we'll cast Consider on their turn as to not help them out. Because we want to go Connive for Connive. Sure, you get too expressive. Your hand's looking a little stronger than mine. Not going to lie. What would be best for us, actually, is if we consider into an Unholy Heat now that they're more or less tapping out. Because then we could really punish them. Essentially clear the way for us to start smacking our opponent a bit. Okay, so I'm going to consider now Leisure Shredder. Leisure Shredder to hand, and then we get to connive and see what we want to get rid of. Murktide. Okay, definitely Ragavan. We're gonna get Delirium. Oh, no, they're not. They're not. Okay. I was gonna say they're gonna get Delirium anyway, which would hurt so much, and then kill my Leisure Shredder. Lightning Bolt. Not exactly where we want to be. Nope, not crewing, not crewing, not crewing, not crewing. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So they're back down to one type. I am going to cast the Murktide. It's a 4. Now the Murktide is a 4/4. Is actually kind of weak right now. So I'll just cast the Leisure Shredder, and now I'll have 2 Leisure Shredders. He'll have 1 Leisure Shredder. So long as he casts 2 spells next turn, I'll be able to start crewing my Unlicensed Hearse, and it's getting pretty big, you know, even just as a thing. Looks like they're just gonna pass. Goes in for the attack. So sure, go for the block. If they want to use a bolt, they can, because I also have a bolt. 2 mine resolves first. Question is, do they have a counterspell? Seems like they must be thinking hard about it, if they actually care about their guy or not. Because they cast the second thing, we'll be able to connive, and our other Leisure Shredder suddenly grows. I personally think they should care about it. Oh no, okay. Gonna let it go. And expressive, that seems fun. I'm trying to get my Murktide like slightly bigger. Spell Snare, sure. Then we just eat Leisure Shredder. After that, it doesn't matter. We don't want them to cast that Murktide in their hand, so we're just gonna keep doing that. All right, Kapowie. If they cast a Dashavan, that was actually really silly, but we'll see. I think I might have given them a free Ragavan hit, which is quite silly of me, but I didn't think about that until after I attacked, if I'm being honest. 3/3. Seasoned Pyromancer, okay. That's different. Ooh, we get a Connive trigger. Counterspell. Getting up to 3 types again, so I have to keep fighting him on that front. Really need to draw another iteration. Counterspell. Well, we're definitely exiling stuff, so exile that, and exile one of their instants and sorceries as well. That's getting big. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's gonna be an 8/8 whenever we can stop doing that. I'm gonna try and get a Murktide out. We'll see if it happens. What is their plan here? Mystical Dispute. Oh, that's so sad. All right, so this might be one of those 1 in 4 videos where I see how cool my fans are and how much they watch. Because the Leisure Shredder can absolutely just get dumpstered right now by something. Is this a Brazen Bar? This is their own Murktide regent, and we have no counterspell. Boy, howdy, are we gonna get just punched in the face. The good news is our Unlicensed Hearse exists. The problem is, believe it or not, Seasoned Pyromancer has extra text on it, so they can just block the Unlicensed Hearse all day. You know what, opponent? I'm even gonna make this. Show me your Unholy Heat. I realize I'm in Make Them Have It mode. Yep, all right, so as long as we connive something into the bin, that should live. Yeah, bye, Counterspell. So, Chunk, Lightning Bolt, fascinating. Fascinating. Lightning Bolt, the Elemental. And then I think we crew our guy here. I mean, it's an 8/8, so it got thick enough to actually pose a threat. They're down to 9, so, I mean, it depends on what they do now. Aggressive Iteration, that is the best thing they could have done, all in. If they find another Murktide Regent, that would be the worst. Okay, they do swing, so they must have something to block the Unlicensed Hearse. Brazen Borrower, the Unlicensed Hearse, that's brutal. Well, we get a Connive out of the deal. A Consider. No, I don't think we do Consider. So we draw a Misty. Play the Misty. I don't see us cracking that anytime soon, but what we can do is cast the Unlicensed Hearse. Did that the wrong way. Cast this. We get a Connive out of the deal. So exile 2 things out of our opponent's graveyard, specifically the Seasoned Pyromancer we don't want them having. Oh, that gets bigger when I do that? I forgot about that part. Well, luckily for me, we do have a blocker. So we are going to swing in with this because it's really our only way out. If they have a Lightning Bolt, they have a Lightning Bolt. So they swing in with Murktide. We block. What happens if we don't block? We go to 1. No, let's block. It's unfortunate, but I think it's right. Well, there's your Shredder. You gotta play something else. So we'll thin the deck. We really need an Expressive Iteration, and we need them to not have a counterspell. These are the worlds we live in. What's our opponent doing? Go to 2. They just casting the Brazen? They're doing it before we have a counter. But if we find a Lightning Bolt, we get them anyway. Ugh. That hurts. That hurts a lot. We're at 8. So exile 2 lands. So the Leisure Shredder is gonna have to chump, and then we can kill the Brazen Barrer with Unholy Heat. In fact, we probably even do that now to avoid getting countered. We are just digging for Lightning Bolt, though. All right, Atwara would also be cool right now. Really, much of anything would be great. Another Leisure Shredder, that's not good. I mean, if you have a second spell, play it. All right, if their last spell thing's a counter, we suck. Ugh, consider that's not great. Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4. You actually only have 4 things in the yard. So Unholy Heat, consider Lightning Bolt Counterspell, which only gets us to a 7/7, and I accidentally made theirs an 8/8, so that doesn't work. Oh, but no, Unlicensed Hearse also doesn't. This does not work. All right, so bin it goes. Oh, okay. Please don't have Counterspell, don't have Counterspell, don't have Counterspell. He gets 2 Connives to get the Counterspell. So Connive number 1 is getting rid of a Murktide. Connive number 2 is Ragavan, and we can make it to game 3. All right, that was brutal. Do I want a Mystical Dispute? I guess we can get rid of a Spell Pierce and put in the Mystical Dispute, as it's slightly better. And that's really the only change. Let's go to round 3. Now, again, the problem here is he won the die roll. And because he won the die roll, he's set up to do so much better than us right now. This hand has no threat, but it can get rid of all of our opponent's threats, and it even has a bit of digging. We're going to try this, because I want our opponent to... Yep, there's the Ragavan, which we knew we'd 1000% have to deal with. We find our own? I think our opponent forgot he put a upkeep stop on it. All right. Ooh, we even found that. Okay, so we're going to do this now, even though he could have a dash, because I don't want him to counter my thing. And we're going to cast this. We're going to see what he's up to. Expressive Iteration. But we get a redraw. Hopefully we find our own threat. We did find our own threat. That's beautiful. So the only thing I don't want him to play is Leisure Shredder. Hey, he didn't. Ragavan. All right, we're going to go for greed. I mean, we're 1 and 3 at the moment, so go for it. Counterspell? Dress Down, sure. That does get bounced back to our hand, though. His dash isn't something that cares all that much, so that's unfortunate that the Dress Down took out the Ragavan. They have their own now? Expressive, okay. That could have been worse. Get a land. What's their they don't have a follow-up, okay. If we can find a red land, you find a Fury. That's not what we're looking for here. Do we try and dash advantage? I guess the best they can do is just remove it. I mean, it's getting pretty far. Hey, we get to hit our opponent. And we stole a Spell Pierce. That's cute. Play Atwara, past the Dragon Rage Channeler, and just pass the turn. Ragavan dashes back to hand. You can consider opponent, that's fine. I wish to consider on my turn, which is why I'm just not going to counter your consider with your own Spell Pierce. What do you got? Leisure Shredder, sure. So Connive, oh no, we don't have another red man. Boo. Boo hiss. We do have a Fury, though, so that should solve the problem. Raggy Man? I forgot to consider on my end step, but oh well. So we'll Fury exiling a Bolt, all 4 damage to that thing. We'll consider now to see if we can find a second red source. Another Ragavan. No, what we'll do is we'll put that on top and we'll draw the extra Ragavan. This way, when we dash our Ragavan, we'll trade Ragavans, but we'll still have a Ragavan in our hand, and I'd rather have the bolts than a second Ragavan. Now, this could be a really cool bluff, and he could just not block the Ragavan, but then we do have a Lightning Bolt. Unholy Heat's our thing. That's unfortunate. So he's going to get a Ragavan Heat in now. Oh no, he blocks. He must have another threat? I didn't expect him to block with his Ragavan. He must have a second one of his own. Murktide? It's a yeah, no, Murktide that the Lightning Bolts aren't going to take care of. Another Ragavan. Well, we're on a slow burn here. I feel like we lost. Again, it's a mirror match. Draw go is very, very important in a mirror match. So I don't think we're going to get there right now. Oh my god, these expressive iterations are killer. I wish we had expressive iterations. It'd be real cool if we had them. I mean, who knows? Maybe we can steal one of their Murktides or something. You gonna swing in? All right, he is gonna swing in. Okay. Must have a way of dealing with Ragavan, or must just not care about getting hit. Another Murktide. Oh, petty thefting Ragavan? Really? I don't know if you know this opponent, but Ragavan has haste. I honestly think it would have been better just to cast Brazen Barrer as Brazen Barrer. I feel like that actually just would have been better. What's our opponent dealing with? Polluted Delta, so it's just a land. Cool. Play Spire Bluff tapped, and just draw. So, like, we have 6 damage on tap. Admittingly, it feels like we're going to be 2 damage off. Ugh, drawing a land is not going to help us either. We really need to find an expressive is what we need. Because he just smacks us again with Murktide. There's not much we could do about that. I have to imagine his hand has some number of counters. Draws a card. I would too. We drew another land. That, I don't think there's a way out of this unless for some reason he just kind of lets Ragavan get. Like, I don't see a world where, like, we're allowed to hit. That's what I thought. Yeah. No, we're just dead. Like, I mean, we'll cast Ragavan in case our opponent forgets where the attack button is, or for some reason deals themselves 4 damage before, you know, going to attacks, but I'm pretty sure they just go straight to attacks here. Yeah, no, that does it. That is the end of us, and that was brutal. That was such an awful league. Oh my god, 1 in 4? Will this video see the light of day is the question I have to ask myself now, because here's the thing, folks. Everything about that was awful. Everything about that was just not fun. But that's what happens in the leagues, man. We had Hammer Time twice. Got stomped by that. We had, I don't even remember what game 3 was at this point. Oh, it was, Creativity Combo, wasn't it? Creativity Combo. And then we had one against, like, that weird Shadow deck. And then we had a Mirror, and we lost the die roll. Now, here's the thing. 4 out of 5 die rolls we lost. So we were on the draw. And a lot of these 75 card formats are kind of big on draw go. The games are just very, very efficient, and draw go is the thing. Now, I'm not saying that if we had won every die roll, we would have been 5-0. Probably not. Would we have done better? Absolutely. Probably would we have done better in that mirror match? Definitely. The Hammer Time matches, who knows? You know, I also have a very particular play style where, you know, it's make them have it, and if they have it, great. If they don't have it, they don't have it. So yeah. Again, Murktide is a strong deck. I just had a very bad showing. I've never claimed to be a pro. I always called myself a 4 out of 10 Magic the Gathering player. And I kind of think I proved that here. But if you have anything you want me to see play, go ahead and email me at HeyDummyPlayThis@gmail.com. That's HeyDummyPlayThis@gmail.com. And who knows, maybe next time I bring this out, it will do better. But yeah, I have to figure out if anyone is even going to see this, or if this one is just for Brian and there is no video this week. But yeah, thank you guys for coming along if this does make it to ear, and I will see you next time. Later.